I'm Simone Groover, the founder, I guess, creator of Fixin Crown's book club. And let me tell y'all, I am so excited. So excited to the point of where I'm nervous because I have been trying to get these two ladies together for the longest. So I have with me authors Ashley Jackson and Miriam Baldwin. They are two amazing queens. They're members of Fixin Crown's book club, but I actually met them through another group. So I am here to introduce to y'all these powerhouses, these queens, and we're going to discuss their two books. We're going to discuss Ashley's book, Lost Travel Found, and Miriam's book, Caregiver 2.0. I don't even know where to start. So Ashley, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
So I'm going to show y'all. I have like a whole bunch of notes, even on the back. So I was like, I have so many questions. But first, we're going to start with Ashley. If you can please tell us about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Ashley Jackson. I am from a small town in Ohio. It's actually currently snowing outside. We have our first snow of the season. Not exactly that excited about it, but here we are. And I am a wife, and I am also a caregiver to my husband. So I have started down this path of being a caregiver advocate. I'm also an event planner for caregivers and their loved ones, and an author.
Yay! Okay, so Ashley, tell us what your book is about. So let me back up because I'm about to tell y'all. One of the reasons this is important to me, and you're going to hear some noise. One of the reasons this event is important to me is because it's about being a caregiver. I am a caregiver. I have twins. One is on the spectrum, and I never considered myself a caregiver. This whole self-care journey has been, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
So when you two came out with your books, I was like, man, I really need to talk to y'all. Mm-hmm. And not just me, I have a dear friend and also a member of this group who has recently gone through a caregiver experience. She's a caregiver because she's a mom. And I want to ask y'all about the whole definition of caregiving. She's a caregiver because she's a mom, but she's also a caregiver because she had a son who transitioned because of an aggressive cancer. And her experience, and we'll talk about it, I guess, is completely different. I guess everybody's caregiver experience is different. Hers was rapid. The onset was rapid. And it lasted for a limited time. But and I wish I can get her on here, her experience as an outsider, all I can say is wow, and how strong and amazing she is. Look, so for those of y'all who don't know me, I'm an emotional person. So
me too.
Her experience was, all I can say is that this lady is amazing. She's strong. I don't think she got to go through the whole like self-care portion that you all got to go through because it was just a couple months. But like I said, she's still a caregiver and she's still going through like the aftermath. So, we have a lot to talk about and we only have an hour. So,
Miriam and I, we tend to talk and talk and talk. So,
yes.
If it's over, it's okay.
So because of your connection, and we're going to talk about that, feel free for both of you, because I've seen y'all before, how y'all jump in and finish each other's sentences. Oh my God. So for those of you who don't know, and maybe we should go with this first. These two ladies met. They haven't met physically yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. And I want to ask y'all about this. I have so many questions. They haven't met yet, but you would think they've known each other forever.
I think we have known each other forever, but we got in contact just last year. And this part is Ashley's part. Ashley knows how to tell this story, how we met. So my sister from another mister, actually, thousands of miles away from me. But like you said before, Simone, it feels like we've known each other for forever, and we have so many things in common. Today, I texted Ashley and I told her, "Isn't it amazing how many things we do have in common? It's crazy." So, Ashley, tell the audience.
Crazy, yeah. Well, I had started my path onto becoming a caregiver advocate back in July when I launched my business, July 2020. And it wasn't until about August 2020, because I do have a support group for caregivers on Facebook, and Miriam happened to join. And as we kept talking about, making sure caregivers, we need our own self-care. Caregiver burnout's real. I mean, burnout is real, don't get me wrong, but caregiver burnout is something totally different. And how we just vibed and kept talking and digging deeper, we were like so much alike. I was like, this is scary. Like, I know you're a little older than me, but were we separated at birth? Like, was my mom not telling me something? Like, we are so much alike, it's almost scary.
Yeah. And it feels so good because we can share many things.
And she doesn't judge me. And we've had to learn the hard way that when we internalize our feelings, especially with caregivers, because we're supposed to be seen as strong, most of the caregivers are women. We're supposed to be strong women, and I was able to be very open and honest with Miriam.
Yeah. So many people ask us, so you are sisters, right?
Yep.
Well, yes, we are, but we are not. Huh? So that's confusing for people, but we have so many things in common. We share a lot of caregiver stuff. What we both have been through. My journey is not Ashley's journey, but the struggles are and we're the same.
Yeah.
And we both are caregiver advocates. And let me tell a bit about myself. I'm also the caregiver to my brother and husband. I've been a caregiver for more than 20 years.
Yes.
I'm 51 years young now.
And beautiful.
Oh, thank you, my love. So I'm the caregiver to both my husband and my brother. My husband was a diabetic, suffered from kidney failure, had a kidney pancreas transplant surgery back in 2003. And his kidney failure started 4 years before, so 1999. I wasn't taking care of myself. 95% of the time, I was taking care of my husband. And when I finally had 5% time for myself, I felt guilty. And I practiced self-care. So I burnt out. And, it wasn't until a social worker in the hospital asked me the question, simple question, Miriam, how are you doing? And that's when I started to cry and sob for 15 minutes because of the heaviness that was on my shoulders. And I was mad at myself because I didn't want my boyfriend then. He was my boyfriend because we weren't married yet.
Okay.
We were not married yet.
Okay. I didn't get that when I read the book.
We married in 2 years after his surgery. Yeah, we got married 2 years after surgery. So I was mad because I didn't want him to see me like that. I was the superhero. So that's when they found out that I burned out. and I had to do something. Well, I did it anyway. I went to my home country, Suriname, in South America for 1 week while he was still in the hospital recovering from surgery. And it wasn't easy. It took me months. It took me months to discover what techniques, what tools to use to own my well-being, how to revitalize my energy. It was a tough journey, but today I can say it was worth it. And because of the techniques and tools I learned back then, I was able to prevent another burnout when in 2012 I was at the office and Martin, my husband, called me to call my brother. And I said, why should I call my brother? I'm at the office. He said, Miriam, please call Patrick, your brother. He sounded strange and I'm driving to him right now. When I called my brother, Simone, I hung up within 5 seconds. He had a stroke while I was talking to him on the phone.
Right.
And since 2012, November 2012, 9 years ago, I became the caregiver to my brother as well, who had a stroke, was partially paralyzed. Mm-hmm. Today he can walk and talk again. But it's all in my book, Caregiver 2.0.
It is. Like my heart was beating. Like I pictured you racing to the house and EMS was already there.
Yes, the paramedics,
the emergency
were
medical
there,
services.
police,
Yes.
firemen. His kids were there. I was the last one who arrived over there. And when I saw him sitting on the floor, you know, what went through my mind was, do I need to plan a funeral? And the first 48 hours were critical. We didn't know if he would make it. He couldn't talk, walk. He didn't remember our names. It was a terrible time.
Okay, so you've already answered some of my questions. There's so much. Okay, so let's back up. First, I want to let everybody know I was trying to enter on the comments. If you'd like to win or you'd like to enter for your chance to win a signed copy of their books, I need for you to not only tag, but share and add hashtag FCBC, that's Fixin Crowns Book Club Caregiver, okay, for your chance to win a signed copy of their books. That's hashtag FCBC Caregiver. Let's start with how you two met. You were on Facebook, right? Because Facebook is so amazeballs right now. So you were on, and you can say the group's name if you'd like. You were on another group, and you met there.
I was looking for a group on Facebook and ended up in Ashley's book, Facebook group.
Yep.
So
okay. Yeah. So, and it's quite interesting because had I not started with that group and started putting my, what I like to say, my business out there, I never would have met this beautiful woman. And I can't wait till we can actually physically meet. They're probably going to have to get security up in that airport when that happens.
I want to see a video of that.
Breaking news, CNN.
Oh, I was going to say, they are going to put us on primetime news because it's going to be bad. But we, like I said, we got connected in the group that I started back in July of 2020, caring for the caregiver, treat yourself. And it's just a group. I felt the need to start a group because caregivers, we go through so much hell as it is. We don't need to circulate the bad vibes. We need good vibes. We need to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that we are allowed to, treat ourselves. And it might not look like spa days and bubble baths, but it can be reading a book. It can be talking on Zoom just about life. It can be listening to music and singing at the top of your lungs off key. Whatever it is, I just wanted people to know that there are positive avenues out there for them. And Miriam happened to be looking for a positive avenue at the same time, and that's how we came to be sisters.
Yeah.
So
And I was writing my book. I started writing my book in August last year, and we started talking.
That is
and
so amazing.
Ashley mentioned that she was.
Did we freeze up?
Yeah, she had started writing, but she stopped. So I told her,
Okay.
no, man, you have to finish the book. You have to finish your book because people need us. There are so many caregivers struggling. And I do believe that if we share our story, we can help others. And that's when we decided to go on a mission.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you two define caregiving, and who are caregivers?
Miriam says this eloquently.
I always say there are 4 types of people in the world. People who were caregivers, people who are caregivers now, people who will be a caregiver, and people who will need a caregiver someday. So whenever you are taking care of someone else on a daily basis or a few times in a week, preparing meals, taking care of their medical stuff, driving them back and forth to the hospital, even if it's your neighbor, you're a caregiver. Your child, even your dog, you are a caregiver.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's
so
a loved
everyone.
One. Everyone. Yeah. It's a loved one.
Because normally when we think of caregivers, we think of
nurses.
Yeah. I'm a nurse. Yeah. Or like
nurses, medical professionals.
Or someone that's taking care of someone that's like terminally ill.
Yeah. Or taking care of a parent.
Yes, definitely.
Most of the time when you're taking care of your parent, then people say you're a caregiver. But in Ashley's, in my case, we were very young when we became caregivers.
And just to piggyback off of what Miriam just said, I was a year into my caregiving experience with my now husband, because he was not, again, this is another similarity.
Yours wasn't either, right?
We're not married when he got his diagnosis. So when we, I was a year into my caregiving experience when a nurse said, "How is your caregiving journey going?" And I didn't want to be like, who is she talking to? Like, my mom's not here with me, because what I thought caregiving was, you take care of your parents when they get old and they can't handle meal prep or their finances by themselves. That's what I thought caregiving was. And she said, "Honey, your boyfriend or fiance, whoever he is to you, he's got end of life disease here. Like, you're his caregiver." And I'm like, huh? I didn't even know I was a caregiver until I knew.
Wow. So can you share with us a little bit about your now husband, his diagnosis?
Yeah. So, and I'll never forget the dates. I know he's listening to me in the other room, but so just to tell you how quick your life can change. January 1st of 2017, he proposed to me at Disney's Cinderella's Castle. And I'm obsessed with Disney, but anyways. And then March 29th of 2017, so 2.5 months later, he was diagnosed with a rare cancer in stage 4.
Gosh.
So we were just planning an engagement party. We had just booked our venue for our wedding. And then the doctor comes in and tells us this diagnosis. And we're like, huh? We just thought he had a bump on his forehead, and that was it. But it turned out into a rare cancer. He fought it hard because head and neck cancer, because it was in this general area. So head and neck cancer is very tough to fight. It's very hard to stay gone once it is gone. And it can be very, you can become very deformed very quickly because of all the treatments that he has gone through. My man has gotten his lifetime max of radiation. I'm just going to let that sink in. I didn't even know that was a thing until they told us he can no longer ever have radiation ever again in his life in this area. So, and I don't know if I wrote that in my book or not, but
I don't remember that.
No, I don't think so.
That's why I'm like, what?
Yeah. There's still a few things I probably should add in to do another edition, but
in your next book, we'll talk about
or in
that.
my next book. So, but yes, he has had the max amount of radiation and also chemotherapy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chemotherapy for this type of cancer as well. That's how aggressive the tumor was. So my caregiving journey was, some people, and cancer is different, and it depends upon what cancer it is, but everybody's cancer journey is different. I didn't know at 31 years old. I was 31. He was 37 when he was diagnosed, and I didn't know I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, what am I supposed to do here? Even my mom, who took care of my grandmother who had cancer, she was like, it was a totally different area of the body. These weren't even options for her at that time. Like, it was different treatments. And I see a question, how many treatments was it? I wrote it in my book. Don't make me a liar. Goodness.
5 times a week?
I can't remember. So the chemo and radiation, it was 5 times a week, and he would alternate for months at a time, because they would do is shrink the tumor, but then the tumor would come back. So then they would try to shrink it again. Then they did a surgery, which I'll talk about a little later. That's one of your questions, Simone. And so it was 5 times a week for several months. It would be like 3 to 4 months at a time, and then it would come back, and we'd have to go back, and it was like a yo-yo roller coaster, train wreck. At times is what it
roller coasters. Yeah. That's the right word. The roller coaster.
It's almost like going like 100 miles per hour, and you're realizing the stop sign is up ahead, but the brakes are out.
Gosh. So did either one of you at any point did you blame yourself? Did you feel guilty for any reasons? Can we talk about that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Feeling guilty in several ways. One of them I mentioned before. You're so busy taking care of someone you love. You want to make sure that they are okay. And then you forget yourself, because I needed care too. Yeah. I needed to recharge my battery too. And I couldn't charge it when I had sleep. Only one night wasn't enough. So I felt guilty when I was taking a long shower or reading a book or listening to music. I was constantly thinking, what will others think of me? Besides that, I was a people pleaser. And I had too much on my plate because I didn't want to say no to others. I felt guilty and I said no to others. So, yes, guilt is one of the main things caregivers struggle with, because we are so busy thinking what others might think of us. Can we handle it? We don't ask for help. Many of us don't ask for help because we think that others might think that we can't handle the situation, that we can't take care of our loved ones. So it's not only guilt. There's more than just guilt.
So, okay. Yes. Ashley, do you have something to say about this?
Yeah, I was also going to say it's also a feeling of failure. And I don't like to fail. Yeah. And Simone, I know you and Miriam have read my book. So you know what my father instilled in me. And I hate failing. I hate feeling like a failure. I oftentimes did. Because of the people pleasing aspect and because I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, hey, let's figure this out along the way. But thank God I still have a wonderful patient who was patient enough for me to feel like I was taking great care of him. And I know not every caregiver has that same experience, but I was grateful to have that experience. Even though I felt lacking, I felt like I was failing. He was just and he still tells me to this very day, because of you and the strength that God gave me, I'm still here. Okay, so Simone, you gonna
girl, don't. Oh,
that he
tells me that like once a week. And I still feel like when in hindsight, like, oh, I wish I would have done this or that to have been a better caregiver. But it's okay. We got through.
So I've heard that before. Maybe if I've done this well, shoot, I can say that for myself. 2 years ago, had I, saw these signs or symptoms, sooner, maybe I could have done this or maybe I should have done that. What do you say to people who are going through that now?
Miriam?
You are doing the best you can with the knowledge you have today. That's all I can say. I did the best I could for both my husband and my brother with the knowledge I had back then. I had to go through this journey and learn from it because I'm still learning.
Yes.
I'm guiding caregivers now, but I'm a teacher and a student. I'm still learning, and that's awesome. And what I also learned is that we are only one question away from knowing what our loved ones need. We are only one question away. Why don't we ask our loved ones, how do you feel about me as your caregiver? How do you feel about me taking care of you? And then we hear it from them instead of thinking, am I doing the right job? What do you need from me?
That's so powerful, Miriam.
It is.
We are only one question away, but that's something I had to learn. I had to learn to communicate with my brother who couldn't talk. Because there was a time when I had to go to the hospital and shower him every day. I mean, how many of you who are following us right now have seen a sibling, especially
completely
a brother, in his full glory, a grown man? So there was a lot of embarrassment.
Clara Fleming says caregivers are also their own patients. They need to provide self-care as well as service care.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And that's what caregivers don't do a very good job of, is the self-care portion.
Yeah, because of the guilt, the what if, the what will others think of me? There are so many things. And when it comes to self-care, Ashley and I talk about it as well. For me, I had to change my mindset before I could get the self-care. There was
talk to us about your self-care. You I want to say at the end of each chapter, it seemed like you had some points, some affirmations. You talked about self-care extensively, and how you perform self-care. Can you talk to us about self-care?
Oh yeah, it's first of all, I came up with I didn't came up my affirmation that helped me after the question of the social worker. I looked in the mirror and I asked myself, Miriam, when are you gonna take care of yourself? What are you gonna do for you? I knew the answer, but I couldn't get those words out of my mouth. And it seemed like a voice telling me, girl, you are worthy of a wonderful life too. And since then, I started saying, I am worthy of a wonderful life too. Whenever I started feeling guilty practicing self-care, Miriam, you're worthy of a wonderful life too. And while I was working on myself, the acronym follow. The F stands for forgive yourself. The O for be open-minded. The first L for learn new things. Listen to your gut. Grab opportunities. And see possibilities. And the W, know your worth. So this follow helped me through my journey. But when it comes to self-care, I started with journaling 3 to 5 minutes every morning when I enjoy my breakfast. And then I write whatever comes to my mind. And the result of my journaling is my book, Caregiver 2.0. That's one of my self-care habits every morning. I meditate. I wake up, I pray, I meditate. I take a shower. And when I'm having my breakfast, I journal for only 3 to 5 minutes. During the day, I do breathing techniques. 3 to 5 minutes. Just breathe. And when I've scheduled my self-care moment, if Morten or Patrick, my loved ones, ask me, Miriam, can you help me with this or that? Is it life-threatening? No. Then it's my moment. It's my me time.
Because it's okay to say no.
I'm saying yes to Miriam.
Yes.
It wasn't easy to learn this, but today it's easier for me. But I expect them to do the same. If they have scheduled their self-care moment and I ask them for something, they should say no to me and yes to them.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the way we communicate.
Wow. Ashley, do you have any points on self-care? What do you do for self-care?
Hey, listen, Miriam had to get me together with that. So, so my self-care and my favorite self-care so far at this point in my life is actually hiding in my vehicle, cranking the seat down, and just blasting music and having a little dance and sing fest. And sometimes my husband will text me where you at? And I won't answer because that's just it's my me time. And I'll see him kind of peek out and I'm like, all right. So just sometimes you just got to do it. I really have I think it was either you or someone else in the group that turned me on to Libby, the app. Oh my gosh, that changed my whole world upside down.
You're reading all kinds of books now.
I am reading all the books now.
I'm trying to keep up with you.
It used to be one of my favorite forms of self-care, and I just didn't have the time. And then writing, I have so many ideas up here for a second, a third book. And I I remember Miriam. Okay, one thing at a time, take your baby steps. So I like to read, write, listen to music. That's actually how I wrote a lot of Lost Travel Found. A lot of input that I got from Miriam as far as self-care went into actually writing my book. So I learned from her in her culture, you know, you light a candle, you say thank you to the ancestors,
Yeah.
and then you can start preparing to write. And there were times when I called out and I said, I need your help. And my dad answered like today, and just helped guide me write a lot about him. It was hard. There was some healing in it. There's healing in self-care. If you find the right self-care regimen for you, there's healing in it.
So all of these questions I've answered, I've written down. You all are talking about it. So you mentioned your father, you mentioned music. Tell us who inspired you, and tell us about the music, because for those of you who are going to buy the book, all of you who are going to buy the book, it comes with a playlist, or it comes with this.
I send it out to the people that, you know, buy it from me personally. I'll send out the playlist.
So I got the book and it came with this playlist, and I'm telling you, every chapter you are just, you groove into music. And I'm like, what is this connection between her and music? Can you tell us, one, who inspires you? And then I think it's gonna go into music as well, right?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. So Lost Travel Found is kind of broken up into 3 different sections. It talks about my grief journey that I've been on the past 10 years, with suddenly losing my father, who was very, very influential in my life. I am a huge daddy's girl. So he had a very large influence on my life, my perception, my go-getter attitude. My mother, I know she's on, she will tell you flat out, you are your father's child. And he loved music. He could tell you where he was, what year, what day, what he was wearing, where he was when a song dropped.
Wow.
It could be a Kool and the Gang song to Chic to, like, I love Solid Gold Soul because of him and my mom. So when I was writing my book, and my writing coach, who Miriam and I both used, when we were talking, and I said, oh, this chapter kind of reminds me of this song, you know, that I love, or, you know, and it just kept snowballing into this whole, like, why don't I call my chapters? Because they're all moods. Each chapter is a mood, and different songs put me in different moods. So why not call my chapters, you know, song titles? And then I made a playlist to send out to everyone that buys the book.
So like chapter 4 is Endless Love, Lionel Richie and Diana Ross. And it just goes on and on and on. And I love it.
Yeah, so that's actually the chapter I talked about my parents' marriage, and how I pulled some of the basics from their marriage into mine.
So what do you two do now as for a living? You write books.
Books.
I spoke it into existence.
You did.
What do you do when you're not planning to write that next book?
Well, actually, my next book, together with a couple of other writers, I hope it will be published next month. It's the title is the title is My Africa, My Identity.
Okay, so tell everybody. So, okay, for those of you who don't know her, we have we're live at this time because she is in the Netherlands, because you know we're international, right? So we are talking to her while she's sitting in her home in the Netherlands. Yeah. But that is not where you were born.
I was born in Suriname, South America. And at the age of 20, I came to the Netherlands. So I've been in the Netherlands for 31 years now. But my ancestors are from Africa, the west coast of Africa.
Yeah.
And a couple of months ago, because of Caregiver 2.0, I was asked to be the co-author of My Africa, My Identity, a book full of hope, passion, inspiration by mostly women who share their story to inspire, to motivate, to transform others.
Oh,
and I said yes.
Yes. Congratulations.
So, thank you. I'm so excited because, of course, I said, of course, I will contribute. I want to be a co-author whenever I can inspire, motivate people. I'm there because I know how it feels like to be inspired, to be heard, to be motivated.
What do you have your business, Caregiver 2.0.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you help people become or help people who are caregivers?
So just like Ashley, I started last year. I wrote my book, which was published June of this year. I started writing in August and my book was published in June, 1 week before Ashley. Ashley's book was published. So I decided to compile all my knowledge, all my experience. And I created a 6-week online program where I guide caregivers, but caregivers who are ready to go to the next level.
What do you mean ready to go to the next level?
People who are ready, caregivers who are ready and ready to say yes to themselves and learn the techniques and tools to change their lives, just like I changed mine. And I learn them, I guide them, sit beside them and guide them and learn them how to see possibilities, ask for help, see and grab opportunities, do self-care, schedule and organize.
Got it. Yes. Yes.
The daily, the techniques and tools they can implement into their daily life.
So I would be
breathe.
So if I, as a caregiver, if I'm burnt out and I'm ready to I need some help, I need to get, schedule some self-care, I'm going to go to www.miriambaldwin.com.
But Simone, I'd like to catch you before you fall.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Does
got
it. Make sense?
It makes sense.
I don't want you to go to burnout city like Ashley says. I want to catch you before you fall.
I love that.
So that's where I come in. And, going to the next level for the one means, okay, I don't know how to do this. I keep remembering all of my appointments in my head. That's what I want to focus on. I'm fine. And I'm celebrating your wins. Even if it's a small win, I am celebrating. I'm your biggest cheerleader.
Love it.
Because
she really is.
I know what it feels like. And I'm also working on a 21-day program right now.
Oh.
For caregivers.
Wonderful.
I'm excited.
Yes. I'm working on free resources so caregivers can download them. I have so much knowledge, so much I want to share. So I'm busy taking care of caregivers.
And so you're not just doing this in the Netherlands. Are you going outside of the country to?
Worldwide. It's in English.
What?
I'm doing it worldwide. And I chose to do it in English. Everyone is asking here in the Netherlands, why do you do it in English? You live in the Netherlands. Because I want to reach and help more people.
So that was another question. You're in, and Ashley, I have not forgotten because we're going to get to what you do.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Miriam, your book, is it just in English or is it in several different languages?
it's in English, only in English, and people are already asking when will the Dutch version be
Wow.
published, or the Spanish version, or yeah.
It takes time.
Amen.
It
Yes.
takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. I want to do so much, but I've also learned to take baby steps with radical action.
Right. Right.
Because
So
I'm
Ashley,
still a caregiver.
you are, yes. And we don't want to overwhelm ourselves, because I'm like, Ashley, I have all these ideas in my mind. And next thing you know, I'm like, my anxiety is like, oh, I can't do it.
Yes. Oh,
Baby
yes.
steps.
Oh, my mom and
You know,
my husband have to always come back to earth.
Take it down.
Can I give you a tip? Make a top 3 list per week.
Ah,
And use the to-do app from Microsoft.
right.
And make a top 3 for today. And the top 3, is it important? Is it really important?
Write it down.
Uh-huh.
Good idea. Look, I'm getting some free tips.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
It works. Because it works. It really works.
So, Ashley, what are you doing when you're not thinking about all of these ideas? Yes.
Well, I love to piggyback off of my big sis. So I always say when the caregiver goes through Caregiver 2.0, then they can come see me at Timeless Dream events, and we will throw them a celebration, boogie on down, whatever it be, wedding, birthday. I do also do celebrations of life, and my event planning business came out of my pain. So I had always, like someone told me about a month ago, you've always been kind of doing this before you were doing it, huh? I said, yeah. So I've always loved to do events, put on events. I love themed everything. I just never thought to do it in a purposeful way, and a business. So it came out of my pain of having to not only take care of my fiance through his cancer fight, but I was also, like Miriam said, like doing all of the things that comes with caregiving, but I was also our wedding planner. So, which adds extra stress on top of all the stress. But I turned my pain into something purposeful. So, Timeless Dream Events provides any type of event for the terminally and chronically ill and their loved ones. And I have been, I take great pride in the rooms that I have walked in with some couples, either them or someone that's going to be in attendance. They need to get married quickly because someone may be near death. That was the situation I found myself in. I was planning a wedding with and for someone that I wasn't sure I was going to get to walk down the aisle to. Wow. Thank God we did, but it very well, I know it very well could not. It could have been the opposite way. So I decided to put my event planning business into something purposeful. I launched mid-pandemic, which, call me crazy, but I love a little challenge. And that's what started this whole caregiving advocacy and writing, and just making sure that I am doing the best that I can for my audience, for the caregivers. And I haven't said this to anybody yet, except for my mama, my grandma, and Miriam. But I will go ahead and announce it now. Okay, I'm going to cry. I was actually nominated to receive a Caregiver Visionary Award. And the event, the ceremony is going to be virtual this year. and I'll see if I win an award on November 23rd.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Year. Yeah, I'm truly excited. When I told my Nana, who I watched as a young girl take care of my great grandmother, and the strife and the heartache and the all of the stuff that she put into her caregiving journey, she was so happy for me because she was like, caregivers need more recognition.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just so happy to be able to share that with Miriam, my sister in arms, here this morning. And I just felt the need to share it with you guys. So I'm excited.
Congratulations.
Caregivers, we truly need to tell any caregivers that are listening or may listen on the replay, please share your stories. I think my mom posted in the comments earlier, sharing your story can truly save a life. It's hard. I didn't want to do it, but I felt the need to. And a year and some change later, I'm better for it. It's been healing and cathartic.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
So off topic, Shaw Lewis wants to see the outside view of the Netherlands.
I do too.
Well, it's almost 7 p.m. here. There's not much to see. It's dark. It's cold. But next time, maybe I'll post a video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So
okay, I have. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
No. Go.
Okay, so I don't want to forget. I need for you, because our hour is almost up. We want to hear some excerpts from your books, and then I have some like quick fire questions, and then our viewers want to know where to purchase your books. So can we do the excerpts now? We'll start with Ashley. Oh, Miriam.
Ashley, I can't hear you.
Miriam, you go ahead and and read from your book, please.
She wants Big Sis to go first. So, okay. Diabetes is a nasty illness, and unfortunately, it has caused neuropathy for Martin. The nerves in his foot are damaged, and he can walk with a pin in his foot without feeling anything. That's why he isn't allowed to walk with bare feet. Martin broke his ankle on July 7, 2009, while playing football with my nephews in the park. He didn't notice it because of the neuropathy. We thought his ankle was sprained. I was concerned about his ankle still being swollen after 1 week, and we went to see the doctor. He had to stay the night, and an x-ray showed that he had a fracture on the left side of his left ankle. He had a cast for almost 8 weeks, and the fracture healed. We had planned the Panama Canal cruise in September to celebrate our 4th wedding anniversary. But Martin's ankle was still swollen, and we thought that it was because of the healing process of the fracture. Since we didn't trust it, we went to see the doctor again in the hospital. I'm sorry, but you have to cancel the cruise. Martin needs surgery. Martin had taken a wrong step and broke the lateral malleolus bone of his ankle. We just don't know when this happened. He had surgery and a cast for another 6 to 8 weeks. During that time, I was working the driver, cook, cleaner, caregiver again. But that's not all. When the cast came off, we saw that Martin's ankle had grown crooked. After many appointments and x-rays, they found out that the surgery didn't go as planned. They hung the bone too high, and that's why his ankle grew crooked. Martin made more bone, but at a wrong place, on top of his ankle bone. Another time of disappointment, anger, and arose. Martin didn't fit in his shoes anymore and needed orthopedic shoes. These shoes had to be adjusted at least 20 times. Accepting the fact that he couldn't wear his modern shoes anymore and the constant pain in his foot wasn't doing his mood any good. Not only that, but Martin also started having an ulcer under his foot. And because of the neuropathy, we found out too late. At a certain point, the ulcer was almost an inch deep. In the hospital, they removed calluses many times, but that didn't help because the nasty stuff was underneath. He even had a cast for 6 weeks, but that didn't help either. It was very deep and all the way up to his bone. One day, I went into the treating room with Martin and watched the nurse clean the ulcer. Blood and pus were coming out of it. "Are you okay, Miriam?" "Yes, I am." Then she took a syringe and filled it with disinfectant and went into the ulcer. I can imagine if you feel nauseous now. Yes, we caregivers go through a lot. During the procedure, Martin was having a conversation with a nurse because he didn't feel any pain. "I told you, diabetes is a nasty illness. Note that this procedure was done without anesthesia. As I was watching this all very closely, many things went through my mind. I was the one who should do this at home 3 times a day. Doing it myself would save me driving back and forth to the hospital. I asked the nurse for help. I needed to know how to clean the ulcer. I needed sterilized syringes, compresses, band-aids, tweezers, and all other medical supplies. Martin used crutches for weeks, and I cleaned the ulcer every single day, and we could go back for a checkup every 4 or 5 days. Within a couple of weeks, it was healed, but we still had to be careful and check his food daily. It happened a couple of times that we noticed an ulcer too late, but as soon as I started the cleaning procedure, it healed within a few days. 1 year later, in September 2010, we went on the Panama Canal cruise and celebrated another victory. Yes, Martin needed extra care, accepted the orthopedic shoes, and this will be the same for the rest of his life. Because his ankle is crooked, we have to stay on top of any hidden ulcers under his foot. But we don't let this dominate our lives. Dear caregiver, do you clean your loved ones' wounds? And do you ask medical professionals for help if you're stuck?
I remember that part.
It's very uncomfortable, but it just shows what some caregivers have to go through.
Right.
You don't often hear these stories, and many. I have so many stories, but I felt like I needed to write this because people have to know, both caregivers and non-caregivers, how important it is to know what we go through, what we are dealing with, what we are struggling with. Yeah. You know, and I chose to do it myself because otherwise I had to drive him back and forth every single day. So I chose not to do it so I could use that time for myself to take some rest.
Right. That's powerful. Sha wanted to know how to share the video. There should be a button. I don't know what type of device you're using, but there should be a button on the lower left-hand side, a share button next to the comments.
I tried sharing it too. That's why I was like, ask.
Oh, that's what you, okay.
But
so
yeah, I couldn't share it either.
Probably because we're looking at it on the group. On the public page, on the public page, it's shareable.
Okay.
But on the group,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think if you tag people though, it may work.
Okay.
So what genre do you consider this? Is it like self-help, inspirational?
Yeah. It's self-help because you have to do it yourself. It's not done for you. This is absolutely not done for you.
What's funny about this is that I don't normally read self-help. But wow. Like I went through this, I listened to it while driving. Because you can go do it through Alexa now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
Oh, you didn't know about that. So I bought her book on Kindle, but I listened to it through Alexa. And I'm trying to like grab my notebook and write because I'm like, oh my God, this is so for me.
What?
Because so he's 5 now. So for all these years, all these years, I care for twins, period. But I've been caring for this little dude who is what's considered neuroatypical.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like there were points where I was close to burnout. And I did not, part of me didn't want to ask for help. Part of me felt like I couldn't ask for help. Part of me felt like people didn't understand what I was going through. And I felt like I isolated myself.
Yeah.
And that kind of made it worse.
Yeah. But that's what's going to happen, because I hear you say, I didn't ask for help. First of all, you're his mom.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one who can take the best care of your son, right? But when we explain, that's something I teach my students. Why don't you tell people what you're going through?
Right.
When you ask for help, tell them why you ask for help. And you will be amazed how many people will help you. Tell them.
Yeah.
We often think, what will they think? But we are not in their heads, and they are not in ours.
And then part of me thought that, well, shoot, people know like that, like they know his diagnosis. Why aren't they like offering?
Reaching out? Yeah.
Right. Because that's something I would do. A friend of mine called and said, hey, this is what's going on with my son. I'm gone. But I have to remember that not everybody's like that. I don't know. What do you say about that?
They see you like a superhero. She can take care of it all by herself, because that's what we are showing many times.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say is because of how I portrayed my strength when my father passed away suddenly. Mm-hmm. And then within 5 years, I rolled into this caregiver journey. People were like, oh, she's got it. Like, look how she handled that, and little did they know I was not okay still from losing
your dad. Yeah.
And then all those emotions creep up, and it's like, oh, okay, so another man in my life might, go. So Shaw, I see your question. Did you ladies ever get angry?
That's what I saw.
I said all of that to say this. Yes.
Yeah.
I got angry.
Yeah.
A lot. But I tried my hardest to never let my husband see that.
Right.
I had to change my whole mindset. I was not mad at Troy. That's his name. I was not mad at Troy. I was mad at that stupid cancer in his body.
Right.
He didn't ask to be sick. Martin didn't ask to be sick.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are. And I wish I could have taken the cancer out and knocked it around.
That's I know, right?
To do. But yes, to answer your question, yes, we got angry. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't towards our men.
Right. Okay. Can you share from your book, please?
Yeah. And now since I'm on this on this tangent, I wrote this chapter. I had pulled into a grocery store parking lot, and I got hit all of a sudden with a notion to write. And so I wrote this nasty letter to cancer. And I'll just read a portion of it. So, dear Cancer, why did you enter my life? You turned it upside down and inside out. Why did you pick my loved one, making him hurt so much, and I wish I could take the pain away from him? Why did you change the course of our lives? We just got engaged and at the top of the world. Why did you make me feel so lonely? I felt lonely even in a crowded room with doctors, nurses, and my loved one. Why did you have to make me see my loved one at his lowest and weakest? I hadn't even taken the vow, even in sickness and in health, but here I am. Why do you constantly cause me anxiety and stress? You will always be lurking in the shadows, and his cancer status can easily change at any moment. Why did I worry about what others would think so much? I was so worried that I was failing as a caregiver and that his family thought I was weak, which they never said. Why did you make me question God? I wondered, how could God not only take my daddy away, but allow the man I want to spend my forever with also die? How could that be? It was so frustrating and enraging. Why do you leave me with so many unanswered questions? Literally makes my head spin and my heart hurt. And that's just a portion of my nasty letter to cancer that I wrote.
I muted myself. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple questions. What did you, both of you, what did you learn about yourself while writing this book?
Ashley can go first.
I had to learn what actual strength was and not just what I was portraying. It was not weak of me to feel the emotions I was feeling, and to actually write them out for the world to see shows a whole nother level of strength that I never thought I actually had. And how resilient I am, even though it was hard, and I don't necessarily always want to be resilient, but I say that in conjunction with the strength, because there are times that I just want to be, and I just want to be still and just remember my dad, have my moment. I want to remember the struggle of fighting this stupid cancer that my husband had 35% chance of survival. And he beat it.
He beat it.
Just to let y'all know, he is very well alive. He has been cancer free for a year now. And just writing all the emotions has shown that I'm strong, I'm resilient, and that, I can get through a lot. I hope the dear Lord don't put nothing else on my shoulders at this point, but I can make it through and come out on the other side with peace and joy.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. I learned that how much strength, how powerful I am.
Yeah.
And I also learned that it's okay to cry when you're telling your story. It was a sort of therapy writing this book.
Mm-hmm.
I journal every day, but it's not the same like actually writing a book. And the more I was getting to the end of the book, the more I realized how important it is to share my story, why it is necessary to share my story, the more confidence I got. And it's unbelievable that when I'm so happy that I could talk with Ashley about both our books. We were complaining about homework because we got a lot of homework from our coach.
Okay.
But it was totally worth it. The confidence, the power you feel, the positive energy. Like, okay, let's launch those books. I can't wait to share my story with the world, because I was searching for other caregiver stories. Not many. Many times, 95% of the time, you hear the story of the patient, but not the one taking care of the patient.
Right. Okay.
So this book brought a lot of power, a lot of strength, a lot of peace, and a lot of confidence to guide fellow caregivers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank y'all for writing these books. I really thank y'all and appreciate it. 2 more questions. If you had to sum up your book in one sentence, what would it be? Either one of you. Mm-hmm.
The best kept secrets of being a healthy caregiver.
Ooh, love it. Oh,
I gotta follow that up.
She freestyling.
Right. I wasn't ready. I need like an extra second.
Yeah, actually, then Ashley can think a little bit more. One of my free downloadable documents, I named it "The Best Kept Secrets of Being a Healthy Caregiver."
Okay.
And in that document, I share just a little bit of the techniques and tools. How to avoid the mistakes I made.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, my book summed up is just a girl trying to navigate the world, not a flight up. Really just a story about turning your pain into purpose.
Yes.
Using your mess for a bless.
Oh, love it. Love it. Wonderful. So what advice would you give to caregivers around the world?
Girl, take a trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you say girls trip?
Hey, bet. That's another similarity between Miriam and I. When things got in the thick of it, when we were about to blow that top of the caregiver burnout, we went on trips.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. For me, literally, there's travel. I've been to over 50 countries, and I took a long trip after my dad passed. It was not like an eat, pray, love. It was more like I need to find where my head is before I lose it type trip. So for me, I would suggest any caregiver. I know you can't obviously take 9 months away and travel, but and Lisa Davis, I don't know if you're listening, but I'm going to shout you out, girl. I know you're a part of the group. I loved how she posted. She's also in my caregiver support group, but she posted the other day how she started with baby steps. She took a 2 to 3 space of time for her to leave the house away from her husband. That worked out well. So then she did a weekend. That worked well. So then she did a week. So take your little baby steps in whatever you do. I was only halfway joking about taking a trip, but I highly suggest it.
No, actually, that's so when we do our meet and greets every quarter, that's my getaway.
Okay.
Yes. So
Love
I get
that.
to meet all of these amazing ladies.
Yeah.
And that's my time to like relax, release. Yep.
Yeah. So, but whatever it looks like for you, please find what self-care works for you. Please, you really do. I wish I would have known because I've burnt out. I've had 2 big burnout experiences in my life. One after my dad passed and during my caregiver journey. I never want to go to burnout city again. Had I known what I know now, had I known that back then, I would have implemented more self-care. And it doesn't have to be bubble baths and back rubs, y'all. Spa days are wonderful. I love it when I can get them, but there's more practical ways, listening to a chapter of a book or, my mom actually just posted a self-care tip in my group this past weekend that we forget about. Taking care of your own medical needs.
Oh my God.
Caregivers are bad at that. My mom went to go get her vision checked out and she had a blast because she got to pick out a whole brand new set of glasses.
Let me write that down.
That is self-care. That is also self-care. Caregivers, you have to take care of your own health. If you don't fill up your own cup, and I know you hear this all the time, if you don't fill up your own cup, if you don't put on your own mask first, who's going to fill up your loved one's cup? Who's going to put on their mask? You literally have to think of it that way. If I were to shrivel up and end up in the hospital or pass away, ain't nobody going to take care of Troy like I do.
Yep. I am a couple months behind on my eye appointment.
Nope. Schedule that now.
How many fingers are here?
I can't. These don't even work for me anymore.
I do want to add that please listen to your body when it's whispering so it doesn't have to scream.
Yes, absolutely. Rita says, I really hope you all are I really hope y'all sharing this with a lot of caregiver support groups because it is so golden. And she is absolutely right.
Yes, it is. But you know what the problem is with many groups? You are not allowed. They see it as advertisement.
Advertising, yeah.
Even though we got the key, the major key.
Right.
But no. So that's why we've formed our own groups. We draw people to us, to our message. We love doing these talks together for this very reason.
Well, do me a favor. If you can, can you put your support groups in the comment portion? Put it on the post for the Small Business Wednesdays and Sundays for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I will share it on the public page. I have no problem sharing people's stuff. It's all about getting that information out there. Let us know where we can purchase your books. For those of you who aren't looking on the event page, I do have the information posted where you can share their books, but also we're going to list them here. Give us your social media sites and where to purchase your books, please.
I will share a link because I have a link with all the other links where people can purchase it. Go to my website. I do want to add that my website is being updated right now, so the free downloads are not ready yet. But I hope that by the end of this week, the updated website will go live. So bear with me a few more days. So I will share the link because you can purchase the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Actually, our books are everywhere.
They're everywhere. Oh, and libraries now. Libraries.
Yes.
So that ties me into the last thing. Where has writing your book taken you? Like, what are your possibilities now? Because I know Ashley shared the news about her book's been in the library. You've gotten recognized by your city, the state
government.
So tell us about where your books have taken you, and then we will close out. Even though I don't want to.
Well, one of the places is My Africa, My Identity. It's because of Caregiver 2.0. It's taken me to many other countries. People have purchased from Asia, from South America, Europe, the USA. So that's wonderful. You know, you never know where your book will end up. It might end up in a village in Peru. It might end up in a village in Africa. You just don't know who's reading your book and who you're helping. And the word of mouth is very, very powerful.
Yes. Just a like, a share, a comment. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it. Ashley, where has your book taken you?
For Lost Travel Found, it, like you were just mentioning, it's been recognized by my state government. They actually sent me a nice notarized piece of mail. And I even thanked them on social media, and I totally geeked out because they responded back to me. And I did get it in my local library, trying to branch out into other libraries. But and because of the journey that I am continuously walking upon, my mother and I will be launching a podcast at the beginning of next year. And Miss Clara, I do have to give you a shout out because you put a seed in me on the last meet and greet, the authors meet and greet on Fixin, Crown's Book Club meet and greet. And we are running with the seed that you implanted in me, ma'am. And my mom and I are going to move forward because we feel like we both have some words to impart into other women who are on a grief journey, and whatever that may look like, because there's not a lot of podcasts that deal with grief, and we want to continue sharing and spreading our joy and peace that we have found. And my mom actually just commented that she's at my grandpa's right now cleaning his house out. He just passed in May from stupid cancer. But she is finding her joy in cleaning the house and preparing it for the next owner, which is me. So we are going to move forward with a podcast and just see where the podcasting goes. And my mom has been inspired to write a book, so we may work on a book together. There's just so many possibilities. Just one book, you don't know who it's going to touch. Exactly what.
And don't forget the newspaper, the local newspaper.
Oh my goodness! Miriam always has to remind me. Yeah, the newspapers, the regional newspaper. Oh my goodness. I've just had so much love. And then this Caregiver Visionary Award ceremony really just threw me for a loop. I'm just blessed. Like my dad used to say, too blessed to be stressed.
That's right.
It's so amazing. And I forgot to mention that the Dutch CDC, they asked me to tell them what caregivers need, and I asked them how much time do we have. They said 2 hours. I said not enough. I need a week.
You need a whole month.
Because we need so many things. And when I started mentioning what I went through, they were like, "Oh my goodies."
Yep.
So what about? Is there a a possible collaboration between you two?
So many people ask this.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I
Okay.
see us writing a book together. I mean,
I'm
I
in her
see it.
self-care box already.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my goodness, I have self-care boxes too. See,
Oh,
so I need to,
I remember that.
Lord have
You're
mercy.
not posting about that though. We need.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do
Okay.
better. I'm gonna start
Okay.
posting about it
Okay.
because it
Because some of us could
includes
use them.
it includes lost travel found. So
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then for people who have already bought Lost Travel Found, it includes Caregiver 2.0.
What?
Yeah. So people
Okay.
can go to my website and choose a t-shirt size and the book, whether they want Lost Travel Found or Caregiver 2.0. And
Okay.
I have other, and it's beautiful because it's all Black women owned items that I'm putting into this next box. So I'm
Oh, I
excited.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, is there any last well, are we going to post about where to purchase the books, or do you want to?
I can post my
post the
link.
link.
If you want to sign
Okay.
the book, you can go to my website that's scrolling down here, www.timelessdreamevents.com, or you can go to Amazon if you want it tomorrow. So
Right.
my books are everywhere. Barnes & Noble, Target. Target has a buy two, get one free going on right now with books as
Oh,
well.
oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay. Any parting words you want to give to the audience?
Oh yes, always.
I love
Always.
you.
Whenever you feel or postpone your self-care moments, ask yourself the question, do I love myself? And I know you will say yes. And then the second question, okay, what do you do to show it? Name 2 things within 15 seconds. What do you do to show that you love yourself?
That's good.
I'm sorry, I'm writing this down.
No, please.
Wow. Ashley.
I always like to end on one of my favorite quotes from my father. So he was always big into chasing your dreams, chasing your goals, and your purpose will come. So he always summed it up like this: you can either have your footprints in the sand or your butt prints on the couch. What are you going to do today to chase your dream? And that quote is what is on the t-shirt, which is in my self-care boxes.
Look, that would preach a word, huh? For real. And then Mama J is leaving us with remember health, love, and wealth, and time to enjoy them.
Yep. Love that.
Ladies, I thank y'all so much. And words cannot describe how much I appreciate y'all. You are an inspiration to so many, so many. Thank you so much for taking the time out to spend, this now hour and a half with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to more events with you all when you come out with your new books, and just
yes.
gotta speak it into existence. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.